So this is NormadicMatt's homepage for his blog/website. The first element of Matt's blog that really helped to inform the layout of my own blog was his background image that he used. I thought the use of the scenic imagery really jumped out at me, for helping to define the theme of his blog straight away to his readers. It really screamed travel to me, it really screamed global, really all the themes that his blog speaks about. I thought that initial image on his homepage really told that story, even before reading the slogan that is on top of it. So with this in mind, I incorporated this into my own blog. I did this through the use of my header image. I wanted a theme that I'd be able to use an image on, so that I could show what the theme of my blog was about through imagery. So I did this by using a landscape image. The image is of me stood in front of the sea. And I did this to show my readers that my posts would be relating to travel and the world. I thought this was really important so that they would be able to see that before even looking at any of my posts. They would be able to look and think, this blog is about travel. Matt also inspired my menus at the top of my blog, particularly the drop-down menus that I wanted to use, and I thought that this was really important to incorporate as it would allow my viewers to be able to navigate around my page more easily. An about page was also important to me. It gives a really personal touch, and I really liked how Matt introduces himself on his about page, and I wanted to do the same with my about page to show the viewers who I was. So going back to the idea of a drop-down menu, you can see here that Matt has separated out his blog posts into really helpful and useful categories. I wanted to do the same with mine. I split my blog into sections like travel, lifestyle, and then to further subsections such as makeup, university, or different locations. If you then go into his travel blog itself, I really loved how his page separated out the blog posts. That is very inspirational for how I wanted my content to look and to look like to the audience, so they could be able to choose which posts they wanted to view based on the title. I want the title to be very eye-catching. I wanted to have an image to show what the post was going to be about, and I wanted my viewers to be able to pick and choose what they wanted to read, depending on why they came to my blog and what sort of advice and information they wanted to gain. So as you can see, the title of this one, Top Things to See and Do in Madagascar. Many of my posts were tips. They are tips and tricks on how to travel, ways to budget, 10 ways to budget. This is further illustrated through one of Matt's posts on France. He's done a post about 7 castles you must see in France. And that inspired sort of how I would write my blog titles. I would use maybe a number of different items and write about them in those numbers. So 5 top tips, 10 ways you could, for example. And again, he's got the image and the title next to each other, so it's really clear what the reader is going to be looking at, giving a little summary next to that blog post, so it draws the reader in immediately. I really wanted to do that. So if we click on this blog post and scroll down, you can see many similarities between the ways that Matt has written his posts to the way that I have written my own posts. So he's got subheadings. I really wanted to put subheadings into my work, but more so to break it up for the reader. They could go to a particular section or just look at the subheading and know what I was going to be talking about straight away. And Matt's done the same. Because he's talking about 7 different castles, he has separated them out into those 7 different castles, and then he's included links at the bottom of his page, as you have just seen, that then take you to a separate page. This is really useful as it really helps to show the reader where they can go to find what you're talking about. I've done this with items that I've included. So if I've talked about a notebook, I've linked to the page where I got the notebook from. If I've spoken about a savings account, I've linked to a page where you can find the best savings account for you to be able to budget. I thought the links that he included should really be incorporated into my own site. as it gets readers thinking about how they can do it for themselves. It shows them how to do it rather than just telling them how they can do it, and I thought that that was really important. Overall, I just really enjoy Matt's blogging page. I think it's a really inspirational travel blog. I think it gives readers loads of tips and tricks that are really helpful. But I think what's different about my blog to Matt's is mine is aimed much more at the student audience rather than travellers in general. I wanted to be a lot more specific with my target audience and who I was talking to in terms of the content.